Hello everyone, and welcome to SuttonsDaze and to the final day of the 30 Days of Preparedness collaboration. I want to do a great big shout out to Preparedness, who is my partner in crime in putting this collaboration together. I can say with most certainty that if not for her, it probably would not have happened this year. So thank you very, very much, Preparedness, and thank you very much to all of the channels that participated in this collaboration. You can check out the links to all of the channels in the description box below. I hope you go by, check them out, subscribe, say hi. It's really a great thing, and we look forward to possibly bringing this to you again next year. Tell me what your favorite part of this collaboration has been in the comment section. I would love to hear, okay? Today, for the final day of the preparedness collaboration, I would like to talk about some of my favorite people in the whole world, our pets. There's a lot of detail in this particular segment, so please excuse me while I look at my notes, but I think it's all really important, and I encourage you to grab a pen and take notes as you go along if your pets are as important to you as they are to me. So you're going to want to get together all of the documents having to deal with your pets, okay? And my suggestion would be to print these off, scan them, or if you have them electronically, scan them and put them onto a thumb drive so that you can grab and go, put these in the emergency kit with your pets so that they're easily accessed very quickly in case you have to just pick up and go with your pets, okay? So first you're going to need your veterinary records, copies of your veterinary records. Most of your veterinary facilities will just make copies of these for you, which is really nice. So just scan them. A rabies certificate, vaccinations, medical summary, prescriptions, heartworm tests, most recent feline FIV test results if you have cats, okay? Really important to have all that information. Photocopied registration information, just basically proof of ownership or adoption if those are something that you have with yours. I don't have that with mine, but you know, you never know. You need a description, and it's always good to have a photograph, okay, but a basic description saying breed, sex, color, weight, that kind of thing, but a photo to go with that is always a really, really good idea. And, you know, again, recent photographs of your pets. So if you're like me and you take lots of pictures of your pets, then this is an easy kind of thing to do. But don't take just the silly ones like you see in this video. Be sure to take some, you know, just basic, this is them sitting, standing, walking, whatever, photographs so that if anything were to ever happen, you could have those available. And it's much easier to identify a pet when they're sitting or standing normal than if they're upside down with their tongue hanging out. You know what I mean? If your pets are microchipped, then this is really important information to have because sometimes when ownership transfers with pets, people forget to transfer the microchip information also. So you want to make sure that you've got that microchip information. It'll make it much easier to locate the pets if anything were to happen. And don't forget, always put your information, phone numbers, addresses for family, friends, relatives that you know, are familiar with your pets in case anything were to happen so that you could have them assist. So the next ones are pretty basic and normal, you know, water, food, medications. You want a 2-week supply of food for your animals stored in some kind of waterproof, airtight containers. Very important. You don't want the elements being able to get to them. A 2-week supply of water for each animal. Now, obviously, cats don't drink as much as dogs. There are some days when I wonder about that, but you know, when we figure out water for ourselves, it's always a gallon a day per person for consumption. And you want to figure at least a gallon a day per dog for consumption if it's a medium to large size dog. If it's a little dog, then you want to take that down to maybe half a gallon like you do your cats. Don't forget, if you feed them canned food, that you want a manual can opener. Very important to have a way to get to the food if you have the food. If you have specialized feeding instructions for these animals, then that's something that you want to include in with your documents and in with the food itself. Write it down with a Sharpie on the containers or laminate a piece of paper that has the feeding instructions and put it right there in with the food. If your animals are on any kind of medication, it's always good, if applicable, to have a 2-week supply of medication for them in case of an emergency, if you can, if it's something that you can do. And don't forget about the instructions that go with that medication. Always try to have a 1-month supply of flea or tick medication for them also, because you never know what time of year that's going to hit, and you want to make sure that they're protected if anything happens. Okay, what are some other things that you can have on hand to make life a little easier in case of an emergency with your pets? Leashes, harnesses, collars, and make sure that they have the IDs on them. Again, a Sharpie marker really comes in handy. You can put the contact information on any of those woven collars. You can put them on the harnesses, and you can put them on the leashes. Now, we have leather leashes for our dogs, but there is a way to take a Sharpie and put that on those leashes also, so that if they were ever to get lost, if they were to break away from us and somebody were able to get that, they could see on the leash and the collar who they belong to and the contact information to get a hold of us. Other supplies for cats would be extra cat litter and a pan that you can put the cat litter in. You know, that makes it a lot easier also. And always their favorite toys. Our dogs are never without their balls and their bones. We are tripping over them constantly, but they are their security blanket. And so having something like that, some of their balls, some of their bones, some of their toys available and put in the kit is a good way to make them feel a little bit more secure during an emergency. A first aid book and a first aid kit, we'll go over that in just a minute, is a really great thing to have for your cats or your dogs or any other pets that you might have. I'm going to speak specifically to dogs and cats for this particular video, but you can apply almost all of this to what other kind of pets you may have. Okay, so in the instance of dogs or cats, if you just look on Amazon, I will put a link to a kit and to a book that I highly recommend. They give you basic first aid information and equipment in case of emergencies for your dogs and or cats. These are very helpful, definitely worth learning how to help your friends. You know, these are your friends, they're part of your family, and it's a good thing, you know how to help your family members. These are part of the family. It's a good thing to know how to help them also in case of an emergency. And don't forget cleaning supplies. Okay, well, it's always good to have cleaning supplies for us. We need to pick up after them sometimes, so disinfectants, paper towels, baggies, little trash bags, that kind of thing is always handy to have with the kit for your pets also. So now let's talk a little bit more about that first aid kit. I have a pretty long list here it's kind of an all-inclusive first aid kit for pets, but you can, take what you want out of the verbal list and what you think would work for your situation, your animal, and see how comfortable you are with putting it together for them. Okay, so excuse me while I read this because it's a big one. So always latex gloves. Just like for us, we have latex gloves for us. It's always a good idea to have latex gloves when you're dealing with animals. Gauze, sponges, gauze rolls, elastic cling bandage. Oh, that stuff is just amazing and wonderful, right? Something to make a splint. So we have things in our first aid kit for us that would probably be applicable also for the dogs for a splint, or you can get pretty handy with whatever you have around. There is adhesive tape, non-adherent sterile pads. You don't want the ones that have the glue on them. They're just awful. A small pair of scissors, tweezers, a magnifying glass. Now, I have learned the value of a magnifying glass as the years progress. Very important. Grooming clippers or a safety razor, some kind of leash. Again, it's a preference. Some people prefer nylon. We prefer the leather leashes. Towels, muzzles. I don't muzzle our dogs ever, but if they were very, very hurt and scared, you would probably need a muzzle. So having a muzzle just tucked away in case of an emergency is not a bad thing to do. Compact emergency blanket, just the same kind that we get for us, right? A water-based sterile lubricant, hydrogen peroxide, rubbing alcohol, an antibiotic ointment, that you can put on, the antiseptic towelettes, insect sting pads, cotton tip swabs, instant cold pack, Epsom salts. Yeah, I know. A baby syringe or eyedropper, sterile lubricant, safety pins come in handy for keeping things where they need to be. A list of emergency numbers, including those for your pet's vet, for the after hours vet, for the National Animal Poison Control. Shush. Seriously? Yes. Are you guys ready for this? The number for the National Poison Control for animals is 1-888 888-426-4435. That's for here in the U.S. If you're in another country, I highly recommend finding out if they have a similar number available for you to call where you are. Petroleum jelly is always handy, and then a flashlight, because they never do things when it's convenient and daylight, ever, right? Just some clean cloths like washcloths, and then possibly some needle nose pliers, because porcupines are a real thing. Your pets are part of your family, and I value their presence in our life as much as I do any person's. They're very, very important to our comfort and our well-being, and I want to make sure that they are safe when they're with us, when they're not with us, and when there's an emergency, so that we can all continue to stay together, okay? So I hope that this list helps all of you try to figure out how to put things together for an emergency kit for your animals. Like I said, there are kits available. I'll link you to one, and I'll link you to a book that you can just, instead of scatterwampa, you know, out there, just kind of go get the whole kit. But if you want, take that list that I said, write it down, and hit your Dollar Tree and put together a backpack specifically made for your pets. And that way, if anything happens, it's a grab and go situation. You can grab that backpack and you know you're taken care of. If the dogs get out accidentally and get away from you, you have that backpack, you know where the information is, you have the pictures, you can put them out online, you can do, you know, get them out to all the authorities. You can do everything in your power to try to bring them home safely. Okay, so again, I hope that you have enjoyed the 30 Days of Preparedness collaboration brought to you this month, September, National Preparedness Month here in the United States. It has been a real joy working with all of these fantastic channels. It has been a joy bringing you all of this information, and I hope that you have found it helpful. I would love to hear some ideas for what you might be interested in next year. Leave that in the comment section below. Let us know what you thought. And as always, remember, be safe.